All right, we are live on location again with Maximus Crypto. What's going on, buddy? Good morning. How you doing, bud?
You know how I'm doing. I just saw you last night. I'm doing great.
Man, I had so much red dust on me when I had to shower and everything last night. It was crazy. So it's a good time.
And
We
I
went
don't know.
off roading for everyone who doesn't know.
Yeah, I had a lot of that on me, all over me, and so on. So, like I was joking around with you. I was like, I look like I was like this Chinese, Filipino, Scottish person, right? Because I had all this red, right? So it's like the first time ever I'm part ginger. So, anyway.
Just turning my volume up a little bit on my computer so I can hear better because they got this music in the background. I don't know if you can hear it or not, but
No, your mic cuts it out. Hardly
oh,
anybody
okay.
hears it.
Yeah. Cool, man. So we got quite a bit to get into. This market has been playing with people's emotions over the last, I don't know, this whole week, really. I mean, we're at Friday today, and we have a crash, we have a recovery, then we go sideways. And people don't know what to think at this point, man.
No, they don't. But that's the beautiful thing of having a like we mentioned the other day, like a portfolio where even if it's a free one, coinmarketcap.com, you click on the watch list, right? You add these coins, these altcoins to your watch list. You study of like when was the all-time highs, the all-time lows, do they have previous bull markets and so on, and it helps you grasp like what to do moving forward. That way you're not just blindly going in with no plan and just trying to wing it. Because let's face it, a lot of people wing it and they get wrecked.
Yeah. Yeah, or you can download apps as well. Like Delta's a decent portfolio tracker app. Um, like I was telling people, like, look, if you're in the red, especially on something that you can stake, something like Onyx Coin, for example, right? XCN. A good thing to do would be, download one of your portfolio trackers, or like you said, use a portfolio tracker on CoinGecko or CoinMarketCap. Enter your Onyx Coin, enter your cost average because it allows you to, and then you can claim your rewards weekly or daily, whatever you want to do on something like Onyx Coin, and continue to enter it in your portfolio tracker, and you will watch your cost average slow, like drop for free, right?
Yeah, I mean, those are free platforms, and I just look at like why not capitalize on it. There are some premium ones like you're talking about. Like there's what's his name, Johnny Crypto from 3-2 Warriors Academy. He has his own premium one with Merlin. So there's some real solid premium ones. But for people who are just new to all this and want to get free one, obviously, I would say CMCs is the way to go. But that's so simple. But I'm not talking about the actual app. I would encourage people to use just the desktop version
Yep.
or even where they just log in on a web-based one. I've actually tried their app. I think their app sucks. So just go with the regular stuff. It's actually a lot more easier, especially from
I
the dev.
actually use CoinGecko's portfolio tracker. Same
That one
thing.
I don't. Yeah, that one I don't use. I haven't tried it. I'm not knocking it, but I'm just saying I did notice a distinct difference between the desktop app, right, of CoinMarketCap.com compared to their official app. Their official app is garbage.
Yeah, yeah. It's the thing. A lot of apps are right because they just half-ass kind of create them and throw them out there, and I've used a few portfolio tracker apps that, yeah, they don't track properly. They glitch all the time with the current price, and then next thing you know, it's not tracking properly. So you do have to pick and choose for sure.
Yeah, no doubt.
Let's get into the chat just a little bit here. Rockhound, what's up, Ken? Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. You know me says it's Elizabeth Warren's fault. It always is, right? It always is. I agree. Overcome is in the house. What's going on? Ken says, good morning, Max.
Hey, good morning. Good morning.
Strawberry Dragon, what's going on? Good to see you. It's a me, Mario. Good morning, senors. What's going on, buddy? Happy Friday. That's right. It's Friday. It's open mic Friday night on the Patreon. Make sure you guys are over there. Dave, what's up, man? Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. Hazy says, good morning, everyone. Carl, salute, gentlemen. Rob, did you go only to the gym in Sedona? I think it's near the main grocery store. I hit that gym on vacation for sure. My resort actually has a gym, so I'm able to use that every morning. Did you all make it up to Jerome?
No, Sedona.
Sedona, yes. Yes, it was a crazy day. It was a crazy day. We filmed a lot of content. I uploaded it all, a bunch of it over to the Patreon, and Max will be uploading it to his Patreon soon as well. So, guys, make sure you're over there because I think, especially with the last video that I dropped, where we talk about Zebec and or XCN, I think that there's some good information in that video, some good insights. And Max and I definitely give you guys something to think about when it comes to because here's the thing, not everybody has a bunch of money on a regular basis to be dumping into the markets, and they have to choose sometimes, right? What do I want to go with here? Because let's face it, if you're putting $10, if you've got 40, $50 you want a DCA, and you're putting it into 2, 3, 4 different projects, I mean, it's not really, you're stretching it too thin, in my opinion, right? So we talk a lot about which one might be better potential ROI, and I think I'm going to make a video later today, probably breaking that down in a little bit more detail as well. So, but we got some XCN that Max has some stuff he wants to talk about when it comes to XCN. I'm just going to briefly kind of skim through the news today.
Zebec.
Or sorry, Zebec, not XCN.
Right.
My bad.
That's okay.
Yeah, so I just want to skim through the news briefly here to see what's going on this morning because we got to stay caught up, right? We got to stay caught up, guys. Good morning, gentlemen. So do you think quantum computing has a big effect on why Bitcoin? No, I don't. I don't think so personally. It's a nothing burger.
Yeah, I mean, even David Schwartz was talking about this. Like, it's so far away in regard to having a profound effect right now.
Yeah.
Eventually, yes.
Anyone still bullish on Jasmine XCN? 100%. Actually, part 3 of the Jasmine documentary comes out today, guys. It comes out later today. I know that the Patreon members already got to watch it because they get exclusive early access to everything because they're solid AF. That's why. So they get the early view. But the Jasmine part 3 of the documentary will be out today, later this evening. I've seen on different YouTubers' videos that within the next 5 years, quantum computing will be. That's clickbait. That's clickbait. People do that. It's fear mongering, right? Listen, I could make videos all day long with clickbait, fear mongering titles, and I would get tons and tons and tons of views. But you couldn't trust anything that I said, right? I'd rather have integrity than clicks. At the end of the day, I get enough clicks as it is. I don't need to try to invoke negative and toxic emotions out of you guys as viewers to get clicks. I don't need it. What's up, big boss? Jack Sparrow in the house. I'm so bullish. I feel it, man. It's coming. That's what she said. People should be too. Let's get it. All right, so I just wanted to skim through the news really, really quick. Just see what's going on this morning, see what kind of news we need to pay attention to today. Kansas lawmakers propose Bitcoin reserve fund. Nice. Using abandoned crypto. There you go. So I'm assuming that means using abandoned crypto. Does that mean like abandoned wallets or interesting? Or does that mean seized Bitcoin on a state level? I don't know how that would work, but AI CEOs transformed Davos, the stunning tech takeover of the World Economic Forum. Europe pauses trade retaliation against US. So that's good. So we know that that's kind of coming to a close now. Trump said he was not going to impose those tariffs, the whole Greenland situation, and now the EU is also backing off retaliatory measures. So that's kind of turned into a nothing burger as well. Just like we knew that it would, just like we knew they would. This is all posturing. And anybody who panic sells based on posturing, a lot of you guys have been here now for at least, if you've been in crypto for at least a year, you should have seen enough posturing and BS headlines and stuff like that and fear mongering to know better than to panic sell every single time you see a bad headline, right? You should know better at this point. So Volks, Diamond Balls, there you go, man. What's going on? Yes, hit the like and subscribe. By the way, guys, what do we have right now? It's a slow morning. We've got 52 people watching, but how many likes do we have, guys? How many likes do we have? 25, guys. It's like walking up and just kicking me in the sack. Why would you do that? Right? Why would you want to do that? Hit the like button. They're all talking about inactive wallets. Oh, I see. Yeah, inactive wallet. That's a little bit weird though, right? How define inactive wallet, right? Because if I'm continuing to buy my Bitcoin and I leave it in a wallet, that's my wallet. And there's lots of people out there, myself included. I have wallets that I haven't touched in years, but that doesn't mean I've abandoned them. That's still my money. That's like saying you put money in fiat money in your savings account, you haven't touched it in 10 years. Is that money classified as abandoned and the government can just take it now? That doesn't make any sense,
I'll tell you
right?
this much: I don't like eToro personally. They have things and measures like not necessarily crypto, but I know with stocks, for instance, they sent out a notice and it was earlier last year. I think it was like maybe last summer, and it said basically like, "Hey, you have these stocks. If you don't let us know, claim these, we will seize these, and then they'll be like the property of the state of Arizona and stuff like that." And I'm just thinking, how many people may ignore these notices? So if you already have that going on as we speak, well, what happens with crypto? All right. So again, that's just an exchange platform and so on. Again, think about abandoning crypto. So if they can deem that with some of these exchanges and so on, it is kind of scary. It's just another reason to self custody your crypto,
Yep.
because again, we're going from the tokenization of stocks, right? So again, if they were able to seize these things with stocks, you better believe that as we go forward, they'll do the same thing with your crypto. So I know we always say not your keys, you're not your crypto, but I mean, clearly you're not a cold storage at this point. Like you need to really look into it because clearly, even in recent news, as Rob pointed out, there's some things going on with abandoned crypto and so on. So it does lead to some of these scary things that nobody wants to talk about, but we should recognize it.
Well, here's the thing. I agree with that 100%. And it's as content creators, especially in crypto, we say these things and people start to roll their eyes at them. It's almost like it becomes white noise, right? And these are not, guys, you have to understand something. These are not things that we say because they don't benefit us really. We're not saying it to protect ourselves. We're saying it to protect you. That's like when you get your kid in the car and you tell them to put their seatbelt on and they roll their eyes and they don't put their seatbelt on. And then you hit a speed bump or something and they get bounced all over the place. They break an arm or something. And then it's like, what did you learn? Right? That's the same thing because it's becomes white noise. We tell you, get a self custody wallet. And everyone thinks it's a joke and that it's not going to happen to them until it happens to them. And then I get DMs on a regular basis from people saying, "Hey, Rob, my account got hacked because it probably fell for a phishing scam or something like that." And they say, "What can I do? What is my recourse?" And there is no recourse, right? You're just done. You're cooked. Your money's gone. There's no one you can call. There's no complaint department. That's one of the things about crypto that makes it unique, is that you are fully and entirely responsible for the safekeeping of your money, of your crypto, right? There's no one you can cry foul to when things go awry for you, right? And they do go awry. So again, we don't say these things, and it's the same thing with when I say or when we say, don't invest more than you can afford to lose, right? When things look good, people just roll their eyes and they don't listen, right? They say, yeah, whatever. That's for other people, not me. And then when the market crashes or doesn't do what you were anticipating it was supposed to do, and it like it has right now, we were expecting market to go up. It's gone down significantly over the last 6 months. People are freaking out. Why are they freaking out? Because they're over leveraged. They put in more than they could afford to lose. If you followed these simple guidelines and rules and the market goes down instead of up when you were expecting it to go up, it would be a lot easier for you emotionally to sit back and go, well, I'll just wait for it to recover, right? Anything short of that means you put too much in the market. So when you hear these things, you shouldn't just be rolling your eyes and sounding it out, because these are guidelines, these are guardrails. This is like bowling without the with the walls on, man. We're trying to help you, right? Like, what else do we have? Went on a bit of a rant there. Mark, Rob, like the life with live with Caesar and the gang. God bless, from the Netherlands. Nice. Yep. Blockchain buzz he's talking about. Absolutely. I like the lives. Stop speed begging. Hit the like button. People don't get that. People don't get that. Money doesn't sleep. It's always rotate. Yes. Crypto turns around. The corner's patient in this. Yes, exactly.
Hey. I think Rob froze for a bit, probably because you're on wireless out there. But hello.
Sorry, did I cut out?
Yeah, just for like 15 seconds. It's all right.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay, yeah. I guess I'm out by the pool, so the Wi-Fi is probably spotty. But anyway, any more news to get into here real quick? Grayscale files for an ETF tracking BNB token. Interesting there. We'll have a BNB. I don't know. There's something weird about having an exchange coin ETF. I don't know how I feel about that personally. I mean, it's kind of weird. I mean, as far as I know, the only utility for BNB is as a rewards token for like liquid staking on Binance, isn't it? Something like that.
Yeah, it just you hold it gives you discount, right? A lot of exchanges do that. It's the only utility of it. But again, a project we covered on the Patreon ran in correlation with Binance. So yeah, I'm rooting for Binance to obviously do its thing again. And what does, oh boy, that project we covered, not too shabby. So anyway.
Hell yeah. So yeah, not really too much else going on right now. Um, we're gonna get let Max is gonna get into some Zebec stuff for you guys. But real quick,
All right, now that
there
we're frozen
is.
here. Oh,
I was frozen again.
yeah.
Son of a. Yeah, sorry,
Son of a
guys.
bean dip, Mother Frito.
Yeah, dag nabbit. Yeah, so Max is gonna get into some Zebec here, guys. Some Zebec stuff for you. But first, real quick, I just wanted to throw this out there. A couple things, real quick. We are both of us running this new promotion. We've both partnered, obviously, as you guys know, with BTCC, Gold Rush Trading Challenge, guys. Get in on it today using our link. And guys, everyone in our trading group over on the Patreon, this is for you as well. We got a new competition going on, guys. So check it out. You can win gold, man. Gold, 8 ounces of gold, worth $1,280, 18 grams worth $2,800, all the way up to 150 grams, $24,000, guys. Do not miss out on the trading challenge, especially if you were already in our trading group. You might as well take advantage of it over on the Patreon. And briefly as well, there's one more thing I wanted to show, and it's about Jasmine, and I thought you'd find this interesting, Max. I don't know if you saw yet. Hara tweeted this out today. Junction, the next generation decentralized AI data center, has been selected for the Vienna Startup Package, a startup support program from Australia, by participating in Europe's
Austria.
largest Austria, sorry.
Yeah.
By participating in Europe's largest fintech conference, we will accelerate our global expansion and aim to revolutionize the global payment system. Very, very good. Congratulations to Harasan and Jankshin. You love to hear that, man.
Yeah, I just got to add something, right? Just a little entertainment. You know, since it's from Austria, we know that Arnold Schwarzenegger's from Austria. So basically, that part that Rob missed out, it basically says, by participating in Europe's largest fintech conferences, we will accelerate our global expansion and aim to revolutionize the global payment scene with technology from Japan. Do it. Get this AI thing going on in Austria, not Australia. All right.
Nice. All right, buddy. What do you got for us today on the Zebec front?
Lots of new updates in regard to ZBCN. So glad to be with Rob. We had a great time yesterday in Sedona, Arizona. We're back in the morning, and we want to give you guys a lot of updates in regard to Zebec ZBCN. So consider smashing that like. We say consider because there's always that one Yahoo that just jumps in and he's like, I ain't smashing like for nothing. Even though it cost me anything, you guys got to earn my like. Well, okay, buddy. We'll earn it on this one. So let's jump into this. First bit that we have is straight from the official account over at Zebec. And boy, oh boy, they have a lot of new updates. So let's get into some of these updates. Number one, we're going to start off with what was reported 3 hours ago on privacy. Now, big shout out to our brother in the space, Rue Black. He has done a few deep dives about the whole idea of like Dash with Zebec. Rob has too. Dash, of course, had a nice pump recently. But we have talked about things like could Zebec complement things like Canton, right? And we've been covering Canton pretty much on all the channels. I don't know if Rob has, that's okay. But again, privacy. There's so much want and need for privacy. And when you do the simple Google searches or whatever you're using for search, as far as your research and so on, it says in the documentation that when it comes to privacy, and especially like, zero knowledge proofs and all these things, they are at the top of the list as far as critical infrastructure, even for things like Ripple and even Swift. So what do we have here in regard to Zebec specifically with what they have to share? Well, number one, again, 3 hours ago, they point out to join these spaces. A lot of you guys do this. Some of you guys aren't on X, so sometimes we do summarize this and break it down for you guys, but they're going to do this with Dash Bay, Houdini Swap, which I'm not familiar with. Maybe I'll have to research that more. Okay, if you're wondering who they are basically supposedly the number one tool for private payments, transactions on any chain, swap, and move assets without the public trail. Okay, that caught my attention. And there's this other one called Cryptic Tech App. Might have to research this more. But again, emphasis is on privacy, right? They're going to discuss this all and why it's important. This is going to come up on Tuesday, January 27th. So basically next Tuesday, okay? This will be at 4 p.m. UK time. So 11 a.m. Eastern, which is basically 8 a.m. Pacific, right? Very early in the morning. And if anything, I'm going to go ahead and share this on my X. Let's get into the next announcement about this. Let's take a little bit further into it all. Lots of announcements, obviously, from Zebec in regard to all this, right? So the next thing we're going to pull up is, now we're talking about multiple wallets. Now, Rob and I, of course, covered the whole thing of specifically Decent, but I myself also hold Tangent wallets. Some of you guys like Tangent. I would recommend have multiple wallets anyway. It just kind of safeguards you. Again, as the saying goes, right, Rob? Don't have all your eggs in one basket. So what do we have here? Why are we pointing out? Well, Zebec, again, is partnering with Tangent. I think this is great, bringing secure self-custody options to their community. They're going to launch a custom Zebec branded Tangent cold wallet soon, and there's going to be more details about this. So it says together we'll also run joint marketing campaigns with advertising during the Bundesliga games in the H1 2026. And again, this was fresh. This was literally the other day. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and share this, like it, and so on. And basically, the other area I want to get into is even if you were to go down to Walmart physically in person, they have access to the cards, the actual Tangent cards. So to me, this is a win moving forward for Zebec. Obviously, it's a win moving forward to or for Tangent. And again, you see this even online on Walmart.com. So for one, you could go to a store and get this, and again, even order this. So with that said, we have more Zebec we're going to get into. But before I get into the rest of this, I'll have us come back on the screen, and basically, hopefully Rob is still there. But Rob, what do you think about some of this recent news? Emphasis on privacy and especially the whole thing with Tangent in regard to Zebec.
Well, I mean, on a broader scope, not just Zebec, but I've also been talking a lot about Night as well. So yeah, I've been very much in the. But here's the thing, though. For me, it's a short term, immediate term, possibly a medium term bullish uh, narrative. Long term, though, for me, I'm out, right? In terms of the privacy narrative, because I do believe that at some point the hammer is going to come down. World governments are not just going to allow people to hide transactions and all that fun stuff. So it's big picture. It's not sustainable, in my opinion. Um, I mean, we're already seeing them trying to eliminate everybody's privacy with the Clarity Act bill, right? So the privacy narrative specifically is what I'm harping on. Um, Long term, it's not sustainable. Short term, extremely bullish, especially when it comes to projects like Zebec and Knight.
Yeah, and I know that I remember when Charles Hoskinson sent out the tweet a while back about Knight and how he's like, this is the most bullish he's been on in a Cardano ecosystem project in a while, and that's a die for another day. But nonetheless, I wanted to get your thoughts on that. We did show you some examples in regard to specifically Walmart. Now, what we're going to do is take you into a little bit more because all this is pretty fresh from Zebec. So let's pull this up as well. This is another recent update. And on this one, we have basically the new Zebec Super App, reimagined experience for cards, staking, streaming, payroll, all in one seamless platform. Like it says, coming soon. We'll go ahead and share this as well. And we know that again, they've been hinting at some of these things for a while. And Robert, just give me a heads up. You got some feedback going on, brother. But yeah, we want to share some of these updates and whatnot. And like it says, the Zebec Super App, and you know, let's face it, a lot of us really looking forward to some of these things, and they've had new partners that we covered. Now, one thing I do want to take you over to, which some of you guys who do some of the more extensive research and so on, you already know that the URL is up, right? You don't see it on the screen as we speak, and that's okay. But if you were to go over and test it out for yourself, you can, as we speak, go to superapp.zebec.io/Solana, or just, you know, .io. And even right now, we see, for example, XRPL integration, right? Pretty much integration with just about anything and everything that is significant. But again, think about how big this is going to be for Zebec moving forward. And you can appreciate that they built like the site and the integrations before they're like, oh yeah, let's just wing it and go live, right? You don't want to overpromise and underdeliver, as the saying goes. The other thing I want to jump into, as far as the things that you weren't aware of, because that's, let's face it, it's kind of like what I do. I wanted to pull this up on your screen. This is from zebec.io/compliance. Now, we know that they have accomplished, as in Zebec, so many things, right? Very impressive to see the transparency, the compliance. How many times have you seen the interviews of Simon Babakani, right? When it comes to certain conferences and events and so on. Rue and I have gotten really deep into this, whether it's in person, on the collaborations, virtually, et cetera, especially Rob, right? But I do want to point out this. Clearly, Zebec has this commitment, highest security, right? The highest security, compliance across the board. We know recently the whole thing of ISO 222 implementation, and Rob and I were talking about this the other day. It's like, if you really think about it, Solana itself is not ISO 222 compliant, but Zebec is part of the Solana ecosystem. And to my knowledge, they're the only ones that are part of the Solana ecosystem that's ISO 222 compliant and also has like integrations with NatPay. And NatPay connected to what? Basically the FedNow system. And NatPay is the only one of the FedNow system that has, and I know this is not an official statement, but I love using this term, on-demand payroll. So when we see the compliance, SOC2 is important, completed. MiCA is extremely important, completed. Recently, ISO 222. But the thing that does not get brought up, Rob, is this thing called FCA. And maybe you guys have never heard about this. I want to tie in some things here to show you why is this important and have a conversational piece with Rob. So again, consider smashing the like. We're going to get into why this is a big deal. If you weren't aware of it, what's FCA? It may seem boring to you. Well, I get it. We'll just cut right to the gist. If you do a simple search on this, you'll find out that the FCA stands for the Financial Conduct Authority. And you better believe it is in fact, important, right? It's vital for maintaining the integrity of the UK as the United Kingdom financial system, protecting consumers from unfair treatment, and promoting healthy market competition. Again, I think the statements of Danelle Dixon from Stellar is true. We want to have healthy competition. This whole narrative that it's only going to be like just the Bitcoin ledger and that's it. Like some people in the community have pointed out, like the original Bitcoin, all that. I don't think that's the case. All right. I think it's having competition, whether it's, Ripple with the Internet of Value through the XRPL or Quant, the Internet of Trust, or some of these other things that we found out, right? Even Zebec's rule when it comes to payroll, but it's competition.
Can I just chime in real quick there before you keep going? I get
Yeah.
I get a lot of comments from time to time from people saying that, like, Bitcoin's not the real Bitcoin, okay? So stop talking about it, right? Talk about what I want you to talk about. Here's the thing. I don't care which one is the original Bitcoin. I don't care what someone's opinion about which one the original Bitcoin is. Do both of them make you money? Good enough. That's it.
Well, I'm just making a point, and I get where you're coming from with that. But I mean, there is the argument. It doesn't matter if it's the original Bitcoin. People talk about, like, again, it's just back to whatever their favorite project is. It could have nothing to do with Bitcoin. It could be just XRP. It could be Quant. It could be Stellar. It could be whatever, anything and everything, right? But I do think this is important because, again, you see clearly that now you see the collaboration with Zebec, and what are they focusing on? Privacy. And again, this is the thing I want to point out for you guys. So yeah, this thing ensures consumers receive fair treatment and tackles misleading financial advertising, social media, all sorts of stuff. I mean, these guys regulate 40,000 firms. That's nothing to bat an eye at. Now, a thing I wanted to share with you guys, this is just an example. This has nothing, this is not connected to Zebec, but it's a great example. There already is this company, it's called Kiteworks. The thing I want to jump into them is give you a great example of how they recognize FCA compliance. So why point this out? Well, for one, they recognize sensitive content communications is critical to FCA compliance. The UK must ensure they have the right policy controls. And when you go further down, they mention this whole thing of, like, communications enable zero trust policy, management across all communications, but they highlight, like, programming interfaces. We know that Zebec and Quant play a role when it comes to programmable payments, programmable money, obviously payroll. And look how they highlight basically APIs. We know that Quant Overledger, APIs, right? Again, like, we already been there and done that. But this also highlights GDPR, also highlights payment card industries. And when you go into the examples, again, from an actual document, we see here, because we were talking about Sibos recently. Let's pull up this tab. This is Sibos 2022, but we're in Sibos 2026, and I'll show you some examples. Quant Network, in this actual document about digital assets at center stage, they point out on page 1728 that, basically speaking, that there's going to be a law which still needs to pass through Parliament that will require stablecoin issuers to be licensed by who? What we were just talking about, the FCA. So again, even though you don't see these terms pop up on your feed, I want to explain why this is so important. Like it says here from Gilbert Verdian, while relatively light at that stage, the bill opens the door to stricter oversight in the future. Again, these bills, these acts, like, we're still deliberating about the whole thing of the Clarity Act and so on. At this time, this bill was the creation of a new FCA and Bank of England based sandbox. So you better believe that when it comes to Zebec, they want to be integrated into some of these key things. Again, I always find it interesting that Quant Network is at center stage when it comes to this. And look at this quote from Gilbert a while back. A balance must be struck between protecting consumers and creating a market where innovation encourages and the fintech ecosystem can grow. Again, Zebec's part of an ecosystem. What ecosystem? The Solana ecosystem. Now watch this before we kick it over to Rob and we have a good conversation about this. I thought it was interesting that Quant Network is having some of these errors all of a sudden, with Sibos going on. The link is called UK's Digital Finance Revolution from Vision to Reality by 2035. Now, some of you guys don't want to hear 2035. I want to point out some of this. I decided to do what? I decided to go to the Wayback Time Machine. If I can't find the information, I said to myself, there has to be a reason why they're scrubbing this. Is it not in line with the World Economic Forum? Does the WEF not want people to see what was originally published? There could be reasons for it. Maybe things that were published are now in violation of a non-disclosure agreement. Call it conspiracy, call it whatever you want. But here's the publication. This was from August 11, 2025, where it points out from the Quant Network the UK's digital finance revolution from vision to reality by 2035. Now, let's highlight something: the urgency of implementation. Now, again, back to, just in case you missed it, I'll pull this up for you right now: compliance. Because we see from the compliance roadmap from Zebec that FCA is in progress for Zebec. I'm telling you, most people are not reporting on this. Glad to do this, obviously, with Rob, because you clearly see Zebec realizes there's a huge opportunity for them for compliance in the UK. And as we take you back over to here and establish the key connectors, we see plain as day the urgency of implementation. We see that the industry is moving at digital speed for regulatory pace, and people have been frustrated about this, but the government's commitment to streamlining FCA approvals and reforming senior managers and certification regimes signals recognition that bureaucratic bottlenecks can't coexist with fintech innovation. Now let's jump a little bit further down and then over to the right. Real action is what will cement the UK's fintech longevity over the next 30 years. Yes, they are not concerned with what retail narrative is. Oh, you guys are talking about these compliance things, or oh, Zebec is going to have all these crypto cars, and oh, they partner with this guy and they partner with that guy, but the price didn't move. These institutions are preparing for 10, 20, 30 years. They don't care about our opinions. And I say that politely, it's just reality. Now, on the right side, Gilbert Verdian points out by 2035, right, which is roughly 9-10 years from now, digital finance will be the norm, and this year will be seen as the catalyst. So again, this was reported last August 2025, and again, recognizing 2025 to even 2035, that would be the 10-year gap. Now, we're at Sibos, are we not? Now, watch this. Again, think about this. Basic search. How long did it take Bitcoin, BTC, to be seen as the norm? Again, back to that statement from Gilbert Verdian. And when you get into it, what do we know? We know, basically speaking, anybody can look this up, but Bitcoin took approximately 8 to 12 years to transition from a niche tech project back in 2009, because the white paper was written in 2008, to a widely accepted financial asset with, mainstream recognition, extending around in 2017. Some of you guys got in at that time. To retail frenzy 2020-21. Again, the last cycles, right? We're entering into another cycle. Rob and I have covered this. But basically speaking, the norm. And that's where I'm at, Rob, because the way I look at it, let's jump back on the screen on this. I'll stop the share. People don't realize this. Even people that claim they're anti-crypto, like Warren Buffett, who has said when it's red, when there's blood in the streets, to go load up, he always has said, we need a 10-year plan. And with that said, why are people dismissing that? I just saw your private chat. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I agree. When it comes to the plans, again, I think we were talking about this, it might have been yesterday on that drive. Excuse me. But it's something that I try to stress all the time, is that you do need a minimum 8-year plan when you're getting into crypto. And especially if you're getting into these utility projects like Zebec, like XRP, stuff like that, HBAR, Algorand, whatever it is, right? Quant. You have to have a long-term vision and a long-term plan. And it really is our own fault, en masse, not specific individuals like you or I, Max, but in general, crypto content creators. People generally come into crypto with this expectation of immediate results, right? Immediate life-changing wealth with very little investment, right? Very little research, very little time. But there is a saying that stood the test of time in crypto, and that is that time in the market beats timing the market, right? Now, I've always said if you get into crypto, you should have an 8-year mindset. 2 full cycles is what you should be targeting. You should not be sitting there going 6 months from now, a year from now, I'm going to be rich. No, 8 years is what you should have an expectation of. Find yourself solid utility projects, like again, your Zebecs, your XRPs, your quants, stuff like that, and allow your investments time to mature. No different than you would in the stock market, right? Same thing. Are your investments going to mature to life-changing wealth a lot faster in crypto than the stock market? Of course. But it's still going to take time at the end of the day, right? It doesn't just happen overnight. So that's what I would add to it, I suppose, is find these projects with utility. Zebec, for example, for me personally, not financial advice, but if you're looking at Zebec, anything under a penny, to be honest with you, and what is it right now? 202. I don't even have it on my screen right now for Zebec. The price is 2029. Like anything below a penny, steal of a deal. Steal of a deal.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. And again, I know we got to wrap this up here real soon. I was going to state is, again, back to what you guys saw in regard to the topic of the norm. How many people will finally jump into these things when it's the norm? When it's the norm is too late, in my opinion. That is not how to gain, as the saying goes, generational wealth. I am not into this stuff to paper hand it. And if some people are, that's fine. I understand. We all have our own backgrounds of what we're wanting to do. But for me, I want that generational wealth and so on. And the way I look at it is, again, so many people will go with the majority crowd. Even right now, as we speak, go to your neighborhood. Unless you're a type person who lives out in the boonies or the middle of nowhere, for the most part, go to your neighborhood, analyze your block. Ask yourself this one question: how many people in this block, or even at work, or in my community, or whatever, even know about crypto? And it's still the same narrative. They may know about Bitcoin, right? Maybe Dogecoin. They sure as the heck don't know about real, true utility, real world asset tokenization, use case, and so on. The concepts that we're talking about with Zebec, like on demand payroll and whatnot, people can't fathom that. They don't see it happening in their life as we speak. So, again, if that becomes the norm, I should say when it becomes the norm, 2035, it'll be way too late. And they'll be kicking themselves. That's all I have.
Yeah, that's exactly it. The time is not to buy in at that time. The time is to be getting to front loading this thing. Like I said yesterday in that video we put over on the Patreon, and I've been saying this a lot lately. You right now, if you are in crypto, whether you are in decentralized finance, AI, whatever it is, just simply layer ones, right? Whatever your RWAs, the tokenization of real world assets, these narratives that I just ran through, and potentially the next couple of years, decentralized science, you are front running the next 10 to 20 years of innovation, right? If you can just see the forest through the trees, stop looking at the daily candle, stop looking at the tweet that Trump put out today and getting upset when you're literally in a position to front run the next 20 years of innovation. What the hell are you stressed about today's red candle for, right? You want, like, again, I guess I chalk it up to the mentality of rich versus wealthy, right? Rich people are broke again inside of 24 months, right? Wealthy people continue to grow their wealth. They're patient, they're consistent, and they don't just blow it all, right? They don't want to get rich fast. When they finally secure financial sovereignty, they want to get it in a way that they never have to be on someone else's clock again, right? Rich people, again, 24 months later, you're punching in someone else's clock again because you blew it, right?
And my friend, our coverage in the future, and I've been trying to share this with some of the people in our Patreon, because I know we got to wrap this up real quick, is think about what's going on right now when it comes to whether it's a bear market, bull market, and so on. These people that have already made their wealth, what is the consistent thing they do? The consistent thing they do is they don't go after 100x, 1000x, or anything. They're only considered with a 2 to 3x consistently to get in and out, in and out. And by doing that, they scale something fierce. Why? Because they already have gained that capital in these accumulation phases, back to what Rob was saying, 4 years, 8 years, especially 8 years, 8 to 10 years, and so on. Then they make it. Then they want to continuously scale, but they don't just sit back. Oh, I made it, and now I'm done.
Yeah.
Real true winners, they keep scaling up further and further and further. Whether people are fans of Grant Cardone or not, that's exactly what he does. That's exactly what Tony Robbins has done for decades, et cetera, et cetera. So why wouldn't I want to not realize that? Why wouldn't I not want to pay attention to that and so on? I see it consistently, seriously, like 2-3x in the future, because you already have the big, as the saying goes, pot of money. Then you can be more conservative, but you can get some of those quicker gains. But what do? We do the opposite right now. Most people do the opposite. They're like, no, I only want to be in this in a year, but you don't have the capital yet.
Yeah. 100%, man. 100%. Rob, do we have a live on the Patreon today? No, I'm in Arizona right now. Whenever I'm on the road, there's no live stream on the Patreon. I announced that before I left last week, but they will be back. I'm back Monday night, so Tuesday. They'll be back on Tuesday. So, all right, buddy, my battery is about to die, so I'm going to charge it. I will be doing another live stream later tonight poolside, so if you're around, Max, I'll text you, or maybe we'll just talk about it at dinner tonight, and we'll get it figured out. So,
sounds good.
All right, guys, as always, thanks everybody for being here. Thanks for supporting both channels. Again, get over to the Patreon. Max and I dropped some exclusive content over there last night. Max is dropping all that content on his Patreon today. There's a lot of good information in there and a good insight. So check it out, guys. The link's in the chat. It's in the pinned comments. It's in the description. I'll see you in the next one. God bless.